Hey there, guys. Welcome to day 3 of Following Up Like a Pro and Closing with Compassion. And we're going to dive on in. Yesterday, we talked about a key element to the prospecting process that most of us are not doing well, which is to have a clear idea of a possible flow of exposure to exposure to exposure, knowing that that's not going to be the sequence for everyone, right? Some people are not going to need that many exposures. But we do need to mentally have in our mind what that could possibly look like, because we're the one that's, driving the ship, driving the car, or whatever the saying is. We're the one that needs to be proactively leading them from exposure to exposure. So we need to know the steps. We need to know what the next step is in the process. Another thing is we need to be organized. We need to know where someone is in the process, because very quickly people are going to start slipping through the cracks. It's going to seem so big and overwhelming. And when we're not organized, it's amazing at how much time we let lapse from one exposure to the next. I know that I am guilty of that, right? It's like, oh my God, I messaged that person, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it was crickets, and I never followed back around. So we need to have some type of organization system, and it's just no matter what your style is, you need to have it. Those of you who are organized by nature will love something like this. Those of you who are not organized by nature like me need something like this. So I just want to give you some ideas. Now, I do, even though I am a technical person, I have my tracking sheets in what I call my sanity binder, and I've got different sections in my sanity binder, not a whole bunch at all. I've got one section is just my weekly checklist, right? It helps me stay focused. Then I've got these 3 parts that I'll talk about in my prospecting, in my sanity binder regarding prospecting. Then I have one section with a list of my customers, another section with a list of my business builders. But anyway, so I've got 3 sections for prospecting. You don't need different sections. It could all be a one form, but I just want to give you my thinking and then see what makes the most sense to you. So this is the first section of prospecting, and it's simply, the tab simply says prospecting. Now, again, like I said, I am a technical person, but I do like to have this pen and paper. But you might want to have this in Excel spreadsheet or something like that, but I do feel like it's important just in one place on one list to see everyone. This is everyone that you've prospected, right? So this is different than your list of leads. These are people that you actually said, hey, you might want to check this out. So why do I have a date here and then I've got a column that says when? Just because there's times when, well, let me give you an example. I shared that with my value-added Facebook group, which is a lead generator, when someone asks to be part of it, for example, right now this week we're just doing, we're sharing some do-it-yourself summer recipes to make like your own sunscreen and things like that. So when I invite someone into that group, one of the questions they answer is if they have any of these health issues, are they open to hearing about a solution that might work? So as I'm approving people into that list, I know I'm going to be prospecting them if they say, yes, I'm prospecting them right away, but in 3 to 7 days. So that's why I have a date, is because I jot down their name and the date that they said yes and entered in the group, and I go ahead and send them a welcome message, because then I do want to wrap back around with them 3 to 7 days later. So by having that date written, and I actually just write the date, their name, and then I know when to follow back around with the first prospecting message. So then I'll prospect them, hey, are you open to learning a bit more about these products? And so that's when I write down the date of when I prospected them. Okay, now, why do I have follow-up? Because if I didn't hear back from them, they didn't respond to that, I want to make sure that I'm following up a week later. Hey, just want to check back with you. Are you open to learning more? So if it's crickets 2 times, sometimes this line might end there. And then I'm just going to build a relationship. Hey, I asked them twice if they were open to learning more. They didn't respond. I'm just going to focus on building a relationship. But if I said, are you open to learning more? They might say either yes or no. Part of my exposure process I shared was sharing my audio why. Did I do that? I share my why. I see if that resonates with them at all, if they're open to taking a peek at a video. So when I sent that, did they say yes or no? Or did I have to follow up a time or two because I didn't hear back from them? Did they say, no, this really doesn't resonate with me, and it sort of ends there? Or did they say, yeah, absolutely, I'm open to watching that video? And then for me, what NHC is, I shared how one of my exposure tools is our natural healing community, where I would add them there so they can actually watch a video to learn about the product or a testimony. Okay, so that's as far as this one section goes for me. Again, you do not need to have multiple sections. But then my next section is, if I write down the date this person was added to the natural healing community on 5/15, I'll write that down, 5/15, so that I know I've worked that person all the way through. But then I do add their name here, 5/15, their name. I added them to the natural healing community. So these are all the people that essentially said, yeah, they're open to learning more and watching a video. So I want to follow up, right? Did they get a chance to watch the video? What did they like best? So I want to know, did they watch the video? What is this here, added to Facebook list? This is just something that I've added here because you know how in Facebook you can create Facebook friends lists? So I've got a list called prospects, and it's just the people who they're in the natural healing community. So I know that they've been exposed to my products or services. And so I want to make sure that I'm being really intentional about, staying top of mind, building a relationship with them. And that's why I add them to the separate Facebook list, so that when I'm engaging on Facebook, I'm being intentional about pulling up that list and actually engaging with their Facebook posts and comments. Okay, now would you want to know, or did they become a new customer or a business builder? Because I want to start really seeing my numbers, right? Do I need to add 30 people to the natural healing community to get 5 new customers, right? So those are just give you some ideas of things that you might want to put on your tracking sheet. Excuse me. And then the third section is follow-up. This is where they have expressed an interest of some sort, right? They're showing interest, but they just haven't signed on the dotted line yet. So then I'll put, when did they express interest? Like, yeah, this sounds really great, but just now's not a great time, maybe in a couple of weeks or a month. So I'll write down their name and the date. And this is just a place that I keep tracking my follow-ups. I'll just put the date, like when I follow back up with them. So I do like to do color coding, and you can do this whether you do it pen and paper or you do it in an Excel spreadsheet. So I don't have the names listed here. Well, I do, but I just have them blocked out because some of them might be your names. Anyway, you'll see that, 1 week I was using blue. The next whole week I was using yellow, right? Another week I was using orange. Another week I was using green. Why do I like that? So in addition to writing the date, I do like to color code, excuse me, because then it's really easy. If the next week is yellow and I'm just working with yellow, then I'll be able to go back and look to see anything here, because you're going to have sheets and sheets of this, right? You're prospecting a lot of people. So it's real easy for me to go back and see, okay, all the blues, and where, like, this might be a blue, but maybe they're a blue over here, or they're on a blue on another sheet, right? They were already added to the natural healing community, and I put a blue there. So then I want to, if it's my next week, I want to see, okay, gosh, that was last week. They were out of the natural healing community. Now it's time for me to follow back up and see if I can move them to the next exposure, or if they're ready to make a decision. So that just gives you an idea of color coding and also how messy mine is, but it works. So today's action, I want you to either create, if you don't already have your prospecting tracking sheets, or tweak it if you already have one, and just making sure it's working for you. So decide on the columns, right? The columns could be third-party tools, follow-ups when they're crickets, maybe anything else you might do. Like, again, one of my columns was that I was adding them to that separate Facebook list. And you can decide if it's all going to be on one sheet, or if you're going to have a couple different sections in your Sanity binder, or a couple different worksheets in your Excel spreadsheet. And then decide if a color coding process might work for you like it does for me. It might make sense, or it might not. And then just go ahead today and upload a picture. Upload a picture of your of your document, or take a picture on the computer screen of your Excel spreadsheet. Just sort of let us know which, and it doesn't need to be finished, just let us know which direction you think you're going to be heading with finalizing your prospecting tracking sheet. So guys, this is so important. You can imagine when you feel like you have your ducks in a row, you feel more confident to prospect a heck of a lot more people, versus even if it's subconsciously, but if we don't feel like we're organized, we're hesitant to add more work to our plate, right? We're hesitant sometimes to be reaching out to more people. We feel like we can't even keep up with the people that we're reaching out to now. That's not a good place to be. You want to feel confident, equipped to literally prospect hundreds of people this week and feel like people are not going to slip through the cracks. And it's really simple to do. So please, please, please take the time to do this. Again, we got a lot more exciting things to talk about, like what do you say in different parts of the prospecting process when they say yes, when they say no, when it's crickets? How do you get people that are fence sitters, right? How do you talk to people who seemed really interested but now they're not responding at all? So we got lots more to talk about this week, but today let's just focus on making sure you've got your system in place and your tracking sheet. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you're like, oh my God, I have no idea, just start somewhere. And as you start using that tracking sheet, you're going to see, oh, I'm missing this column, or it would really be helpful if I was tracking this. It's going to get better and better and better. Just start somewhere. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye, y'all.